Welcome everybody to the creation of classics. Now, this is a new series where I talk about the making and the production of all these classic movies like Indiana Jones, like this one, and Star Wars, for example. So, I hope you enjoy this new series. There will be a playlist on my channel so where you can view all these, and yeah, let's get right into it. It all began with George Lucas and Steven Spielberg sitting on the beach. George and Steven were building a sandcastle when George brought up an idea. It was a movie that would soon be Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Or finished THX, and I was looking for something to do before I was doing American Graffiti. I had this idea for American Graffiti. I also had the idea for Apocalypse Now, and I also had the idea for this kind of taking a 30s serial, using mythology and ideas from the past and creating a kind of an adventure film, new mythology. I came up with two ideas. One was a space adventure. One was the adventure of an archaeologist looking for supernatural artifacts. I landed on the space thing and said, this has got more potential. I think this is going to be more fun to do. Put the archaeologist on the shelf, and then started doing Star Wars. As I was doing Star Wars and I was going along, I was sort of talking to friends to see if I could get somebody to do that film, because I was busy doing Star Wars and I wanted to get that thing made. So nothing really happened until I finished Star Wars. And when I finished it, I was sitting on the beach after the release of the film. We were in Hawaii, and Steven was there, and he was saying that what he really wanted to do was a James Bond film. And I said, oh, well, I've got a great idea, because this is much better than a James Bond film. And so I told him the story of Indiana Jones, and he said, oh, that's it, let's do it. And that was really where it started. And I said, okay, well, when we go back, we'll hire a writer and we'll get going on it.
When George and Steven returned, they hired writer Lawrence Kasdan to write the film. They went into a room and started throwing out ideas for the movie. They were inspired by 1930s and 40s adventure movies. After many ideas for the movie, they made what would be Raiders of the Lost Ark. Lucas pitched it to every major movie company, and he was rejected by most of them. But Lucas finally stumbled upon Michael Eisner, who was Paramount's executive. Eisner stated it was the best script he had ever read. Harrison Ford was going to be Indiana Jones at first, but Lucas didn't want him because he had already been in American Graffiti and Star Wars. They auditioned many actors, and Tom Selleck was the most likely pick, but he was already scheduled to film a series called Magnum P.I., so Ford was picked. Steven mostly stuck with TV actors for the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast consisted of Karen Allen as Jones's love interest, Paul Freeman as Belloc, John Rhys Davies as Sallah, and Ronald Lacey as Major Totes. The budget for this movie was $20 million. The filming was filmed at, now I may butcher some of these names, but La Rochelle in France, Tunisia in North Africa, Hawaii, and on sets at Elstree Studios in England. Steven wanted to finish filming in around 90 days. Steven also wanted to take scenes with only a few takes in order to stay on schedule. Ford actually did almost all of his stunts, including the famous boulder scene, which was 300 pounds. He bruised his ribs by being dragged and tearing a ligament in his leg. Ford did the school nurse lane and put some ice around it and kept going. In the scene where there were a bunch of snakes, Steven couldn't even get enough, so they used legless lizards. Some scenes were improvised, like the plane fight scene. Production of this movie was stressful, but it seemed like it was just a fun movie to make. Steven met his goal because the movie was finished after 73 days. On June 12, 1981, the movie was released to theaters in the U.S. The movie did amazing, making $330.5 million worldwide. After Raiders of the Lost Ark were released, 3 more were made, and 1 is supposed to come out next year. This film trilogy is one of the most loved, and I personally love it too. But yeah, this is the first one I've made of this series, Creation of Classics. This is my first one, so I'm sorry if it's not as good. I hope I will get better as I continue. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you later, and goodbye.